Well, joining me live from Canberra just ahead of the Liberals' net zero meeting tomorrow is the Shadow Communications Minister, Melissa McIntosh. Thanks for joining us, Melissa McIntosh. I've just been sent an article, an ABC article, which talks about you potentially being a running mate for Andrew Hastie or a leadership contender in your own right. What's your reaction to that?
Oh, the posturing's going on, isn't it? Well, I love our country. I'm passionate about our people, and I want Australians to have a better life for them and their families, and one day potentially leadership, sure, but right now that's not on my mind. What's on my mind is representing my community of Lindsay and getting us to settle on a position which does put Australians first, everyday Australians that are suffering so badly out there. And I went home over the weekend and spoke to them, and I went out, Cranebrook yesterday, the little shopping centre, and people that are struggling coming up to me and thanking me for doing what I'm doing and standing up for them and being a strong voice. 1,600 people, locals, responded to my survey on net zero and our energy future, and 64% as of today have said no to net zero by 2050.
So you're sort of saying in that first answer, look, if there is a change of leadership, don't forget me as a potential leader.
Well, you'll see the people that are out there are probably the usual people that are out there, and I don't think there's anything wrong in having ambition in the future, but that doesn't mean that you're going to challenge or do anything about it right now. I'm happy where I am, and my laser focus is on being a strong voice for the people of my community. And they, as I said to you, they're suffering like they've never suffered before. And that's why I've been strong and in the public space for many weeks now on their position on net zero and where we need to go as a country.
How would you rate Susan Lee's performance thus far?
I've always backed Susan, and it's been my mantra always to back the leader, and I'm not going to shift from that. And she made a commitment, and she's actually doing what she said she would do, and that's consulting her colleagues. And she put Dan Tehan into the role as Shadow Minister for Energy, and we've had a number of processes. Susan said she would do this, that she would consult with colleagues, and everyone's had their chance to have their say, and we'll get our ultimate chance tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to it. Speaking
of which, you've come out saying that you just mentioned it there, you've surveyed your seat, you want to dump net zero as a concept. Your electorate does suffer very hot weather, Lindsay. You know, that means a lot of use of air conditioning and large power bills. But it could also be argued it would be helped by action on climate change. So why are you so adamant this net zero term has to go?
We aren't anti-environment. We're pro-reality in my part of the world. People are putting solar panels on their roofs. Around half of people surveyed do have solar panels, and they can't afford the batteries. Manufacturers are closing down at record rates. They tell me they could have all the solar panels in the world, but that does not power heavy industry. This is heavy industry that's contributing to our defence industry, to our sovereign capability in our nation. We have small businesses. I went to a cafe just the other day, and the guy there in Penrith Plaza said to me he was paying $1,700 on his energy bills, and now he's paying well over $3,000, and he doesn't know how much longer his doors can stay open. This is reality. People living rough on the streets of Penrith, sleeping on the streets and on our riverbank, people lining up at food banks. I promised them that I would be their strong voice, that I would represent them, and under the current rate we're going, they are going to continue suffering. And in addition to that, we aren't prosecuting this case against Labor. We need to be a strong opposition so we can say Labor, and I heard your previous guests, they are missing their targets on emissions reduction. They are missing their targets on housing and the promises to Australian people. Sure. They are missing their targets and their broken promises on lowering energy prices.
Melissa McIntosh, I've been reporting this week that it's likely that you'll come up with a policy that involves staying in the Paris Agreement but dumping net zero for Australia as a target or aspiration. That's actually possible, isn't it? Because it's a global target in the Paris Agreement.
I think that is possible, and for us to have our own unique target here in Australia and how we're going to achieve it. As I said, I don't think we should be walking away from doing what we should be doing in regards to reducing emissions. My community didn't say walk away from climate change or walk away from the environment. It is around this complete focus on renewables only at all costs, where we're going right now. And it is clear from the research that Labor, in fact, is not meeting its targets. So let's find a pragmatic energy policy, short-term, medium-term, long-term, that also does include dropping the ban on nuclear. 70% of my community wants that, so we can be a country that takes the most of the opportunities coming our way.
Almost out of time. It's also been put to me that essentially you'll come up with a policy very similar to that of the Nationals, with one or two minor changes so the Liberals can own it a bit. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
Well, the Nationals had some good research behind the work that they did and the position that they made. So I don't think there's anything wrong in taking some of that good work, of course, but we should all be listening to our communities first and foremost, and then coming together and, under Dan's leadership in his shadow portfolio on energy, coming to that pragmatic solution, which I think is going to be representative of all Australians. That's where we need to get. And our everyday Australians that are suffering in the suburbs.
Are you concerned about frontbenchers quitting, briefly?
I would prefer us to stick together as a big happy family. We have some great talent on the front bench, and the only way we're going to be a strong opposition is to have people prosecuting our case against the government and their failures, which there are many, and I think Australians want us to do that. So I hope we can settle this week. I have confidence in that, and then getting on with the job, like we did with the 000 outage over a couple of weeks ago.
Sorry, finally and very briefly, if you may, because I'm over time. The BBC incident, people losing their jobs after this documentary involving Donald Trump. Do you think there's any lessons for the ABC there?
As soon as I came into the shadow communications role, I said one of my strong focuses in the portfolio was for fair and balanced journalism and truth in journalism. I think it's so important, and I think we have a tendency to be losing that in this country. So, yes, of course, and I've made some comments about that. Australians expect the ABC to be impartial. It is our public broadcaster, and I'll keep prosecuting my case around that as well.
Melissa McIntosh, thank you. Well,